Welcome to the Prop Drop. Tune in every week for the best prop bet picks and analysis across all major sports. Brought to you by WSN.com.
Hello and welcome to WSN's Prop Drop, where we attempt to talk the top props across the sports world. Although right now it's a little bit different, that's for sure. I'm Alece Anderson, joined as always by Ryan Sullivan and Adam Forsythe. And we're going to try to give you the best locks, most unique props, best parlays, teasers for what's available. Make sure to check out WSN.com and subscribe to the WSN YouTube channel. Get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange times in the world of sports. Now, you might think there's not a lot of sports out there, but there actually is. You got to dig deep, and that's what we're here for on WSN's Prop Drop. So let's look at last week's stuff and then get into all of our props for this week, because we found some gems.
We did.
We're going to have a blast. As for last week, why don't we start with the best bet recaps? And I'm going to claim a win, and there's a giant asterisk next to it for my best bet.
Can we say like the biggest asterisk ever beside it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The Houston Astros World Series will have the biggest. That'll be the second biggest.
Fair.
Yes.
I had Daniel Berger to finish in the top 20 for the Players Championship Golf Tournament, and boy, did he ever. He finished in a tie for 7th. Not only did I have him top 20, I had him top 10 as well. Now, in full honesty, the Players' Championship was canceled after round number 1. But when I made my bet, I never said anything about finishing the tournament. I simply said he would finish in the top 20, and he did. I'm counting it as a win. Let's go.
Loophole.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
I'll quickly run down my other kind of props that, with the sporting world that essentially shutting down last week, there was kind of minimal props we saw to completion. But I'm going to count this one as a win as well. Patrick Cantley was in great shape after round 1 of the tournament. He had him at 28-1 odds. He was in 5th place when play stopped. I also was smart to bet on Phillip Rivers to sign with the Colts, although by the time I got to it, the odds weren't the greatest. My biggest miss, for sure, I thought Tom Brady would return to the Pats. I think most people did. I laid out my arguments as why he shouldn't taint his legacy by chasing another title with another team. He could have easily retired. He could have gone down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and now we might see him limp away into obscurity in Tampa Bay.
There you go. When is a bet officially a bet in your mind? Like when it's locked in and when it happens to completion. I feel like that's usually, so whatever happens on day 1 of a PGA event that's canceled, I don't know if you can chalk that up as a win.
Where did Daniel Berger finish at the Players?
All right.
No, it does not count. I know, because all the bets were voided.
It's okay, but you were on the right track, though.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that you follow your hunch, and it seemed to be working for you.
It was on the right track, but I understand why they canceled the tournament. You kind of.
I'm sorry to take that away from you. It was the best hunch of the week, though, no question. Yes, I'm calling this one a push. Obviously, I bet that Dustin Johnson will put a ball in the water, and he didn't even get a chance to put a ball in the water. I mean, he did, I guess, on the first day, but I could have had potentially 3 more chances at a kerplunk, and I didn't get it. So, but anyhow. Aside from that, I will throw down there, which wasn't my best bet, but I did say that Tom Brady was not coming to the Chargers, and I'd like to put a little feather in my cap on that one. Thank you very much. The man is a Buccaneer, as we well know. So amazing stuff, though. With that, if you get in on these odds, I mean, a lot of times you look at futures and where's this guy going, different props, stuff like that. It can be a little, you can feel a little overwhelmed sometimes. And you don't put the money down because you're not quite sure. However, let me give you a feel-good story. A gentleman, ESPN just dropped this the other day, put down $200 on Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers. He put that down on March the 4th at 50-1 odds. He's now $10,000 richer. For a lot of people... Wow. The month of March has been god-awful so far, but for this guy, he's having a great time. So there you go. The betting world can put a smile on your face. Best wins that hit, of course, Tom Brady. There you go. But the biggest steal of the week, I'm going to throw this out there because...
A new category.
We can't really do the best bets because, there's a lot of things up in the air at the moment. Biggest steal of the week, if you're looking around the net right now, looking for a good place to throw down some dough, some good odds, some good steals. I'm just throwing this out there. FanDuel right now has Cam Newton week 1. It says what teams he's likely to start with. Placed in 3rd place in those ranks is the Washington Redskins, and I believe that's where he's heading. The odds are decent. They're paying 3.5-1 at the moment. So make a move. Head on over to FanDuel. You'll find some pretty good odds on that. And again, we'll get into more Cam Newton stuff shortly, but I've just got a good feeling. I got a nice little hunch going on with the Washington Redskins, so we'll get to that in a little bit.
All right, I don't want the asterisks. I want the push. because Rory was my pick at the TPC, and wow, that was a bad first round. Bad.
Not ideal.
Nope,
Yeah.
It was not good. When I was scrolling to check it out, I was like, oh dear God, scroll.
There's a good chance that he knew the event would just be canceled.
Yeah.
So he was just spraying.
I think so, mailing it in.
They're saying that one of the reasons it was canceled was his comments after the first round, where he's like, every single player should be tested, and Rory's like the leader on tour. So my theory is he knew he was playing so bad, he's like, how do I get this whole thing scrapped?
Cancel
And
it.
he called up the PGA after the round.
Yeah.
See, if you know something's going to be scrapped, you might as well just start spraying. I went to I was covering the Canadian Championship. I got flown up, and it was awesome. Like number of years ago when it was in Vancouver, and Mike Weir was having a terrible round. He sprayed one off the tee, and like he hit it, and went, and you knew he was in pain. And he just hopped in his cart and drove in and called it a day.
That was it.
Guaranteed. He's like, hell with this shot. Send this into the woods.
Over it.
Yeah.
I was wrong about Brady too. I totally thought he was going to stay in New England, and from all the comments too, from Kraft and everything else, I'm even more shocked. Like, they made it seem as though they wanted him for another year, 2 years, whatever it was. So very surprised about that. Again, another terrible week. Big surprise for me. But best steal of the week is coming from 888sport.com. You can actually bet on the UFC bout scheduled for mid-April. That's Khabib and Tony Ferguson, and we're going to get into that shortly, so I'm just going to leave it there.
All right, I'll jump in with my best steal of the week too. I don't want to feel left out because you guys have just laid out some great steals. Mine is going to be the Super Bowl contenders. The Seahawks right now are going off the board at plus 2,000. It is downright disrespectful. Considering the 49ers are plus 1,000 and have done little to improve their squad, I'll gladly take Seattle if I'm getting double the value. Sure, the Chiefs and Ravens are still considered heavy favorites, but regression is a real thing. As for the Seabirds, any team helmed by Russell Wilson, definitely a Super Bowl contender. I just don't understand how they have the same odds right now as Philly and Indy. Someone is sleeping at the wheel, and Seattle is my steal of the week.
There you go. I
Love
like it.
Great pick.
For our next broadcast, we want to hear from you. Did you agree with our picks? Where did we go wrong? And most importantly, give us your wildest prop predictions from whatever sport you can find. And we promise to discuss the top comments in next week's show. Be sure to like and subscribe for the most up-to-date prop predictions. Now, before we get to our top prop selections for the week, for our listeners living in New Jersey or West Virginia, head over to WSN.com for special bonuses and deals if you want to bet on this week's games. You can compare the best legal online sportsbooks and get exclusive offers when you sign up and start betting. All right, so we talked about a little bit. Tom Brady heading to Tampa Bay. Who's going to take over in New England? Andy Dalton plus 300, Winston at plus 350, any other QB plus 350, Cam Newton plus 400, 2020 NFL draft pick plus 450. I'm totally digging that any other QB option at plus 350.
All right.
It's broad.
Yeah.
It feels kind of safe.
You give
for
yourself
me.
a lot of options by selecting that one option. It's a good call. I mean, if you look at the names on this board, to come in and fill the shoes of the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, it's I think that could very well be the way to go. So I'm just gonna throw it out there though. It's not the sexiest odds, but it pays plus 300. Is Andy Dalton here? And the reason that I throw this out there is because, I mean, obviously Dalton used to play in the AFC, but that has nothing to do with it. He's a patient QB with the ability to move out of the pocket. That's something that Tom Brady lacked. And something that could be well needed because they're losing different parts of that O-line, they're losing different parts of that defense, so they're going to need somebody that can move around and make things happen. I know Dalton has had a rough number of years, a good long number of years in Cincinnati, but he's proven that he can throw the deep ball. I mean, this is what put AJ Green on the map all these years, and he can throw 5 to 10 yarders, which doesn't seem like it's a big thing, but that's a huge part of that Patriots offense. It gets James White in the game, it gets Burkhead, Sony Michel, these 5 to 10 yard options. The screen pass and go, and I think Dalton is on this list anyways, the best candidate out there. I don't think Cam Newton is the guy, even though Newton obviously a better resume out there, a different pedigree, but I think Cam Newton is more suited for the Redskins, as I mentioned off the top with that best steal. Ron Rivera is there, he's getting the band back together again, it seems, and I think Newton could be a good teacher, if nothing less, for young Dwayne Haskins over there. And then, you look at the other ones, plus 350, Jameis Winston, not a chance. You can't go from a 30 for 30 season and coming in, filling in the shoes of a 6 Super Bowl winner. It's just not going to happen. So, of the options, I like Andy Dalton, but I do heavily support your pick as well.
Any other QB?
Yeah, that's a good call.
I do like that Ryan just said that you can't have Winston because he threw for 30 interceptions, yet you want Andy Dalton. Who...
Hey, of this list, okay? Of this list, all right?
Okay, well, you can't slag Winston and pick Dalton in the same sentence.
I'm going to slag Jameis Winston. Are you kidding me right now?
Interesting. I kind of agree with Alece a little bit on this. Any other quarterback at plus 350, especially after the Chicago Bears just acquired Nick Foles. So now all of a sudden, Mitch Trubisky's a little bit expendable. He could easily slide in there. He is not listed on any odds right now, so he would be in that any other QB category at plus 350. In a sick and twisted world, I think it would be hilarious if Bill Belichick brought in Andy Dalton and led the Pats to another title. It would be a crowning achievement for the legendary coach, and prove he didn't necessarily need Brady to outcoach the entire NFL for nearly two decades. However, I just don't really see a fit. He isn't the type of quarterback that can lead you to postseason success, and as we've seen time and time again, the Pats need postseason success. Belichick is a stud, and Dalton, My favorite quarterback on the board, and this is why I argued with Ryan off the top, Jameis Winston, because in a world that is in chaos right now, what is more chaotic than one of the true wild cards of the NFL to join one of the most structured systems in sports? Normally, I would rule out the combo that on paper seems like oil and water, but after living what I've lived through for the last 2 weeks of hectic news cycles and quarantines, I think anything is possible, so I'm taking Winston. And what is Winston out there? Yeah, plus 350. Come on.
It's interesting, and to your point, I still am going to stick with my pick of Dalton, but to your point, Belichick crap, they love to give guys second chances. We've seen it with the Randy Moss. We were talking about it, I believe it was last week. Martellus Bennett, they gave a second chance to over there. Jameis Winston needs a second chance, and that could be the home. You never know. It's a good pick.
All right, moving along to UFC. The much-anticipated fight between Khabib and Tony Ferguson has been pushed to April 18th due to coronavirus concerns. Does that affect your thoughts on who wins? Khabib's at minus 280, Ferguson's at plus 220.
These two definitely have a complicated history. This is the 5th scheduled fight between the two combatants, yet they've never fought. Khabib and Ferguson each pulling out twice with injuries. Both of them red hot. Khabib's never lost, 28-0, 12-0 in the UFC. While the challenger, Ferguson, he's earned 12 straight wins, 9 by finish. And I actually really like Ferguson's odds here, even as the underdog. He's being undervalued. I think he is the better conditioned of the two. So what it's really going to come down to is if he can withstand the champ's initial onslaught, he has a great chance of dragging this thing out and striking late in the fight to secure an upset win. I like Ferguson at plus 220.
It's interesting. I'm going to switch things up here a little bit. Again, you go with the favorite. It's not always the sexiest thing, but anyhow, you look at the records. That's not going to solve anything for you. I mean, of course, Khabib's is a little bit cleaner, of course, undefeated. You look at the reach. That's not going to solve anything for you. The height's 5'11 versus 5'10. Not a big deal there. But these two combatants, I look at the striking. Khabib has the advantage. He lands 49% to Ferguson's 45. But then even more so than that, it's the defense, I think, that's going to ice this fight for Khabib. He absorbs almost 2 less significant strikes per minute, which means Ferguson opens himself up far more often to potential, staggering blows. Khabib also attempts far more takedowns per 15 minutes. Yes, that is an advanced stat, but it's an advanced stat that works. Khabib lands an average of 5 more takedowns per quarter hour with Ferguson opening himself up so much. It's Tony's lack of defense that will be his Achilles heel in this one, taking Khabib for the win.
All right, I like it. I'm leaning to Khabib too. I can't lie. Another one we're wondering where he's going to end up. This one is Jadeveon Clowney. Who is going to sign Jadeveon Clowney? New York Giants leading the pack at plus 225. Seahawks at plus 250. Buffalo at plus 350. Atlanta plus 450. Tampa Bay plus 600. Jets plus 900. I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm holding out hope he's going to be back with Quentin Jefferson heading to Buffalo. I think the Hawks have a good chance of locking him down, and I think he liked it in Seattle. You never really know. He's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay, very scary. But I liked him as a fit in Seattle. I thought he was great. So I'm hoping for those Seahawks, and at plus 250, not bad.
Not too bad at all. I think with this one, we're going to get to it in a little bit with Melvin Gordon, also another big name out there in free agency. And I think these guys actually have a lot more in common than people think. I think they both want the cash. They both want their name in lights. And that's why I think going to the Giants would be a great call, would be probably the best bet. It is the best bet listed here. And we had Don LaGreca on from ESPN New York last week on the show. And he said he agrees. They're going to go heavy to the hoop for Jadeveon Clowney. This guy goes into that defense, and he's kind of at the latter half of the prime of his career. But that's kind of what you need, because it's a young defense, and this guy can be the leader out there. He can be the captain, and he can absolutely have his name in lights on the defensive side of things. Mind you, same thing, I guess, could be argued in Seattle, because they're losing pieces here and there, so he could be the anchor that they need if they can keep him contained. But I just think, the lights of Broadway, the big lights of New York, that team needs a turnaround, and I feel like they're kind of almost on the cusp. The offense is getting a little bit stronger. The reason that it's taking a little while, though, is because, the Giants, same thing with the Seahawks, they're kind of gauging, what these defensive players are making in the market, and then someone's going to make a run at Clowney. So I think he's a little disappointed that nobody's jumping all over him right away. They just want to see how much they can pay him. But as soon as he does make a decision, I'm pretty damn confident that it's going to be the New York Giants.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Ryan. Clowney is the perfect fit for the circus that is MetLife and the New York Giants. A rebuilding team that needs an anchor on defense. His skill set fits perfectly into their needs, and they have the cap room. They're itching to add a star here, and the pieces to the puzzle, well, they kind of fit. However, I'm going to agree with Alece.
Yeah!
I still think a deal gets done with Seattle. A curveball. Trouble at the Curve. Great Clint Eastwood movie. And by great, I mean tragically horrible.
Yes.
The Seahawks have made it clear they want to fork over as little as cash as possible. But as we've seen in the opening week of free agency, teams are opening up the vault for pass rushers. Massive contracts being handed out all over the league. Seattle's always very cautious when it comes to handing out these big defensive deals. Manager John Snyder playing this perfectly. He's just kind of letting teams make their splashes. He's sitting back, and in doing so, he's minimizing potential landing spots for the former number 1 overall pick. So I think both Seattle and Clowney meet somewhere in the middle of their impasse, and they get a deal done, because every day, every hour, the market for Clowney is shrinking, and at some point, he's going to panic.
All right. Head to WSN.com for extensive odds and free picks for all major sports. Football 2020 NFC South Odds. New Orleans minus 125, Tampa Bay plus 225, Atlanta plus 500, Carolina plus 1200. Where are you guys at? Yeah,
this prop is definitely on everyone's radar this week because of Tom Brady's shocking signing with the Buccaneers. T-Bay clearly viewed T-Bay. I butchered my own pun, guys. I was going to say TB as in Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Clearly viewed T-Bay as a contender as he chased another title. Tom, rewind that back. His receivers are definitely much improved with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, OJ Howard, Cameron Brate. Plus, the Bucs have a ton of cap space to work with. They're looking to make another free agency splash. We'll get to that in a bit. Preferably on the defensive side of the ball as well. At plus 225, I really like those odds. Sure, the Saints are the more complete team, but you can never really discount the GOAT. He's clearly motivated. He could have just sailed into retirement as a hero in the Boston area. Instead, he is risking his reputation to prove he doesn't need Bill Belichick to be a winner. At the bottom of the barrel is the Panthers at plus 1,200, which was a surprise to some, but not really to me. I really like Teddy Bridgewater. He's just not that much of an improvement over Cam Newton to warrant being a division contender or worth betting on. So I'm definitely taking T-Bay at plus 225.
It is interesting, and if you want to make money, that's the way to go. I mean, if you take the favorite, you got to...
T-B at T-Bay.
There it is. Thank you.
You did it.
Thank you for specifying. Appreciate it. But no, I think that, I agree with you that, not surprising, Carolina's odds have not jumped since the colossal signing of Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think that's going to make the world of difference by any means. The Bucs obviously moving up the charts. Anytime you can move out Jameis Winston and bring in the greatest of all time, obviously it's going to take you up quite a bit in the ranks. But I'm going to have to stick with the Saints. I think this is their division to lose. Basically, the biggest difference for them, right now it's a first-round tender. That's his price tag. I assume they're going to lose Taysom Hill now that Drew Brees is back for 2 more years. I can't see Taysom Hill wanting to sit back as an understudy for another couple seasons. So anyhow, if he goes out the door, does that really affect them during the regular season? Sure, he came in for some runs. Sure, he came in for a few catches, a couple touchdowns here and there. But his big performance came in that playoff win. It did not come during the season. So if they lose Taysom, I don't think that's a huge big deal. Not to mention, free agency is just getting going. I think the Saints are just starting to get their wheels hitting the road here. So, I think that the Saints have a huge shot, a huge opportunity to keep that offense intact. I see a resurgent season coming from Alvin Kamara. You can't have a worse season, really, especially for fantasy owners who are still disgruntled. But especially on the defensive side, though, I think they're going to make some huge waves there. Marcus Davenport, I love this kid, and I think he's going to have a gigantic season. He's healthy in his 3rd year here. Pair him up with Cam Jordan out there. He's going to do some great things. So, it's the Saints division to lose, despite TB12 going to T-Bet.
Hey. Oh, there you go. I like it. I'm a big Drew Brees fan, so I'm also siding there with New Orleans. Sticking with football, NFL MVP odds. Patrick Mahomes, no surprise, leading the pack there at plus 600. Lamar Jackson at plus 650. Russell Wilson at plus 900. Kyler Murray at plus 1,000. And Deshaun Watson at plus 1,400. Adam.
Yeah, at least this prop popped up because Kyler Murray's odds are just kind of really way down after the Cardinals acquired all-pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans earlier this week. And while there is no doubt he is extremely talented, plus 1,000 odds just really don't justify me giving him any attention. The value is simply not there. I maybe would have thought of that when he was like at plus 2,000. Not anymore. Arizona still has a ton of question marks when it comes to their lineup. The team could very easily crumble with all this newfound hype. It's very similar to what we saw last year with the Cleveland Browns, where everyone's like, they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then they just imploded. I could very easily see that happening this year with Arizona. I still think your best bet here is Patrick Mahomes at plus 600, especially now that you're getting slightly better value. His odds have actually gone up since the Super Bowl. I thought it would have trended the other direction. The Chiefs are the league's best team, and while they've been very quiet early in free agency, they have plenty of team-friendly contracts. There's no reason to doubt Mahomes is the best player in the league next season. 6-1 odds. I will gladly grab a piece of that action.
Yeah, it's tough not to go with Mahomes. I mean, he kind of, I think in the back of everybody's mind, you're thinking that that's where it's going to go. But for me, again, I'm a homer. I love the Seahawks, and I love me some Russell Wilson. And he seems to be able to adapt year after year, whether he's losing the running game a bit. But now with DK Metcalf and him connecting like they did last year, I'm not counting Russ out. So homer bet, Russell Wilson, MVP.
All right.
I think it is a good bet. I mean, Adam, you mentioned right off the top with the biggest steal. I mean, people are sleeping on the Seahawks, and it seems like every single year Russell puts out almost an MVP-like caliber season. But maybe it's because he's up in the corner of the country. People are like, they just dismiss what he's doing up there. So I think that's a good bet, a good underdog. But as much as I'd love to see Lamar Jackson repeat, I have to agree with the man to my right here, and I think this is Patrick Mahomes' award to lose this season. Not only is he a reigning champ, a reigning Super Bowl MVP, he'll add something more to that trophy shelf after this season, I think. And basically the biggest thing with it for me is that team's not going to change too much. I mean, I know jury's kind of out on Sammy Watkins, but aside from that O-line's not changing. The strength there, the run game's not switching up. He's still got the cheetah out there. He's still got Travis Kelce going on. This is a great young team, a tremendous core, obviously reigning champs, and they're not changing things up whatsoever. The only thing that does change is the schedule, and I'm just repeating myself. The only thing that doesn't change in that schedule, though, is the divisional matchups, and they've got 6 matchups on the board against teams that Patrick Mahomes can just run like crazy on and pass like crazy on. The Raiders have not done too much to improve that secondary or that D-line. You look at the Chargers, and yeah, they'll have a healthy Derwin James, which, will help in the backfield, of course. Joey Bosa will be healthy. Hope we knock on wood. But aside from that, there's not too much going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know. I don't have any wood around. Is that wood? I think it's plastic. But anyways, but anyhow, you got Bosa in there. So the Chargers don't pose too much of a threat on defense. Then, of course, the Broncos, who are still in the midst of a rebuild mode. They're still a couple years away. So there's 6 games right there where Mahomes can really pad the stats. Yeah, I think it's absolutely his MVP trophy to lose.
All right. Can we just say thank God for football? We're going to
I know, right?
Continue down here with where we think Melvin Gordon is going to sign. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at plus 250, Atlanta Falcons at plus 300, Miami Dolphins also plus 300, Arizona Cardinals plus 600, and the Philadelphia Eagles at plus 700.
Yeah, the 3 betting favorites are the 3 teams that don't really have a bona fide feature running back. And I think, as we saw last year with the Chargers, Melvin Gordon wants to be paid, and he wants to be the sole number 1 guy, reportedly asking for at least $10 million a season. Cap room right there will also limit the amount of teams that are able to bid for the 26-year-old services. So of the 3 favorites, Tampa Bay and Miami have a bunch of cap space despite some free agent splashes. And I think the Buccaneers are my pick at plus 250. Gordon loved the spotlight, and playing on a team with Tom Brady will get you plenty of national attention. The odds aren't the greatest, but it is the smartest bet of the bunch. The Buccaneers at plus 250 to sign Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, that one sounds good to me. I keep thinking that watching Brady run, you're like, no, you need somebody.
Brady runs?
No, he doesn't.
Are you watching it fast forward? It looks like a jog.
Yeah, it's really something. So I'm with you there. I like that action, Melvin.
Well, and that's what I want to jump in on the Bucks winning the division before they potentially sign Gordon, because that's only going to boost the odds up further.
Yeah, no, it's a very good call, and guaranteed Bruce Arians and co over in Tampa swayed Tom Brady, saying, hey, we're going hard to the hoop on a guy like Melvin Gordon, because their run game right now of Jones and Barber is not getting the job done. They add Gordon, they'll probably take over top odds in that division for sure. But I think that he's going to go to Miami, because similar to Jadeveon Clowney, like we threw out there earlier, this guy wants his name in lights, but he wants the cash. And in my mind, even though I'm a Chargers guy, even though I like Melvin Gordon, he wants a lot of unearned cash. And he doesn't want any competition. I mean, a huge reason, I believe, why he left Los Angeles. I mean, there was a contract on the table for this guy, but he's got competition in Austin Eckler, who turned out an amazing season last year, given the limited tools he had to work with over there. So he wants to get away from that. He wants to be the sole guy, the captain of that run game. And I think in Miami, he gets that and everything else that he desires, because Miami right now is running very thin on offense. And this guy could be a huge boost. Another option there is the Atlanta Falcons. They cut ties with Devontae Freeman. So there's an option there. But I mean, as mentioned with that competition, Ito Smith showed some signs of brilliance last year, some flashes. Same thing here and there with Brian Hill. Not so much, he didn't get too much field time. But so I think Miami is the best option for a guy who just wants to see a whole lot of himself next season.
All right. We've talked about it. With Brady gone and Diggs in, Buffalo Bills odds have actually increased in the AFC East. New England Patriots minus 110, Buffalo Bills plus 175, New York Jets plus 650, and the Dolphins at plus 1,000.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the clip the other day of the mayor of Buffalo saying that, you should celebrate Tom Brady leaving the division. Do it, in the isolation of your own home. Don't do it in a massive group. But
he did this during a coronavirus update.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I think people absolutely are celebrating. And it's kind of a shocker to me that they're still not ranked first in this division, in the odds set. I mean, right now there's a huge question mark in New England. They don't have a freaking quarterback who, obviously is the anchor of their team the last number of years, so it's a weird one. But with that said, there's opportunity for you. You can dive in right now and get some decent odds on the Buffalo Bills because I think they will win this division. The odds of Stephon Diggs, absolutely huge. Josh Allen entering his third season, a huge turnaround year for him last year. He was incredible. I see these guys being contenders around the top 2-3 teams in the AFC by the time the dust settles the end of next regular season. You've got Diggs going deep, arguably one of the best deep threats in the game. And then you've got Cole Beasley, the sure-handed Cole Beasley underneath. I think these Bills are going to be deadly. They've been making some great additions on defense so far as well through the tampering period and the first few days of free agency. I think it's their division to lose. And, and if Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston do make their way to New England is falling very quickly out of that top spot. So cash in now while you can on the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, in trying times like these, communities come together and things are looking pretty bleak around the world, guys. And I'm glad Ryan and I can find a little
They're
levity.
not in Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly.
According to the mayor.
We can find a little levity in yet another prop agreement this week. Another Honda Accord, if you will, because I am all in the Bills this season. Even before Tom Brady left the division, I was starting to think this is the year that the Bills finally dethrone the champs for divisional supremacy. And frankly, I'm even surprised the Bills are on the board at plus 175. I'm snatching that up. Expect Josh Allen to take another step in his career progress. I think his game opens up even more now that the teams have to respect the deep ball threat that Diggs poses, as Ryan brought up. It should allow Allen to embrace his scramble skills, pick up some huge yards on the ground easily. Maybe the lock of the year.
It could be.
Buffalo Bills at plus 175.
I feel more confident in that than taking the Saints to win their division. So it could be the lock. Yeah.
I like it. Head to WSN.com for tons of betting guides for beginners and anyone wanting to learn more about strategy and how sports betting works. This one's interesting because I'm just dying for any sports to come back. Come on, baby. MLB is the first major sports league favored to resume play first. So they're sitting at plus 175, NHL's at plus 180, NBA plus 250, MLS plus 400. You got to lean a little bit towards baseball. I get why it's leading the pack with NBA confirming so many cases now, Kevin Durant and a bunch of the Brooklyn Nets, and then having to go through that with them playing the Lakers, and you're looking at LeBron, and it's not good. And then NHL rumors are circulating that an Ottawa Senators player is confirmed with the virus. So far so good for MLB. Obviously just spring training that was happening. So I kind of like it. There's some money on the line for baseball and 162 games still to play, right? So if anyone's going to push it through, I feel like it's going to be MLB.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to your point, there's been nothing reported so far out of the MLB, but there's a lot more of a chance that something will. I mean, obviously those rosters go a lot deeper, but so far so good for Major League Baseball. But no, I think it's going to be the MLB for a different reason. Just to add to what you're saying there, is that the MLB has 162 games scheduled to get through. Now, will that be shortened? I think the odds obviously point to yes, they will shorten that out. But the NBA, the NHL, they have a handful of games remaining, and then it's playoff time, and I assume it'll probably be a shortened playoff schedule as well, maybe a best of 5, something like that per series, instead of the usual best of 7. You look at the MLS, they have a 34-game season, which will be shaved down. They can get through that no problem. But baseball, another huge incentive is you got to get these guys off the field before October is over. Because if we have games going on in Boston or New York, it could be some snow happening there. There could be a lot of cancellations. So I think the onus is definitely on speeding this thing up for the MLB. But there's a lot of games to get through. Even if they shorten it out by 20 or 30 games, it's still a huge schedule, a huge beast to get through. So yeah, I think MLB leads the odds for a very good reason.
I said we had a lot of Honda Accords and a lot of agreements on the show so far, but I completely disagree with you guys. Because the season is so long, there is absolutely no rush for baseball to get back. They can pick things up in August or September, play a 50-game season. It doesn't matter. They'd still get like a third or half the season in. So they're definitely not an option for me. While these leagues that have already started, they are feeling the crunch to maybe get things going. No scenario for me in which the NHL comes back this season. That is a complete write-off. These players need massive training camps and stuff like that. I like the NBA at plus 250. The league has been the most aggressive in pursuing possible options for a return. Reports earlier this week that July is a realistic target for a return to the hardwood. And unlike the NHL, which you would need a training camp to get back up and running, hockey players are stuck at home. They can't get on the ice right now. The majority of the NBA players, they just have access to their backyard courts. They're working out. They're staying in shape. So no MLB, no NHL, NBA plus 250. Lock it in.
I just had an amazing thought. I mean, a 50-game season, if they had like a 20-game season and then like a March Madness of every team, who wouldn't watch that in the MLB? You just gave me a new dream. It's my bucket list. I want to see that before I go one day.
I'm just going to put a pin into that balloon very quickly because you have your ace pitcher. They can't pitch every game. It's March Madness. So how would that work?
That's why you need more than it goes very much against the Seattle Mariners philosophy, but you need more than one good pitcher on your team.
And I do like when your eyes light up when you have
I was pretty excited.
I won't say great idea, but an idea.
Yeah, it's that and double stuffed Oreos that just get me. Yeah, the only two things.
All right, head-to-head odds on NHL Arena sponsors' stock prices. Now, this article and these odds came out for Tuesday's close of the market, so the first round of betting on this Friday has come to an end. But we couldn't go a whole show without mentioning one of the most box props that we have seen in some time. Still confused. Here's an example from Tuesday's prop board. What stock will have the better daily percentage change on March 17th? So odds there, Detroit Red Wings Arena partner Uber at minus 120. Florida Panthers Arena sponsor Trust Financial at minus 120. For when this bet becomes available again, which NHL Arena sponsor would you put your money on for a stock price increase?
Yeah,
what a bonkers prop.
It's ridiculous, and that's why I absolutely love this, because it keeps you in tune, it keeps you engaged in the betting world, and only in prop betting could you come up with something so ridiculous, obscure, and almost damn well irrelevant, but it's so good. No, if you go through the arenas, there's a lot of banks in there, there's a lot of tech and cell phone providers and stuff like that, so you don't really know which way you're going there. Airlines, of course, Dallas Stars Arena, American Airlines. Probably want to stay away from the airlines for a little while. The one that I love here, my pick, if you can find it, you jump all over it, is the Pepsi Center, the home of the Colorado Avalanche. I don't know. I mean, everyone's been watching a lot of social media these days. That's probably binging a little too much social media these days. But on Twitter, on Instagram, everything, the photos of people loading up the 2-liter Pepsis going on at Walmart. The people of Walmart website is coming back with a vengeance, and I love it. And there's so much Pepsi in there. Take the Pepsi Center for the win.
So much Pepsi. Is that real? I legit haven't seen any Pepsi photos. Or
I've seen
soda pop or whatever.
I've seen a lot of like Coke, a lot of Pepsi. I saw one person, which was kind of like my spirit animal, that was filled with Dr. Pepper.
Fresca?
No.
Fresca's the only thing left. Well, these odd makers are, they're getting pretty creative. I would love to jump on board with Ryan's pick here of Pepsi, but we've been agreeing too much this week. So I'm going to go pick the Calgary Flames arena sponsor, Scotiabank. Like, unlike the 2008 financial crisis, the banks are much better equipped to deal with hardship. Across the board, everyone is going to take a hit regardless, but a Canadian bank should be able to take a hit a lot better than a lot of the American banks, American Airlines, as Ryan just pointed out, and definitely Uber, because you're not driving anyone around, which is a major sponsor of the Red Wings. So I think I'm going to go with the Calgary Flames arena sponsor, Scotiabank, to kind of ride this thing out. Mostly because I have a Scotiabank account and I really need them to do okay.
Wow, okay. Fair enough.
All right, another fun prop to talk about odds. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I want to say it so bad. Odds on Trojan Condoms stock price. All right, over under $65 a share as of March 31st.
Yeah, so even odds, will it be over under $65 a share at the end of the month? No doubt we are going to see a whole crop of new babies popping up in December after this quarantine finally ends, but Trojan Condoms might actually play a part in slowing things down. They're owned by Church and Dwight Company Limited. Their stock bouncing back after last week's worldwide collapse. In fact, on Tuesday, it soared 13% to get back to $71 a share, with people loading up on what could be a very long spring stuck indoors. However, with unfortunately the news getting worse every day and the market's kind of going all over the map, I just don't see it bouncing back or staying steady. Even with condoms in demand, I think the stock will still fall. So $65 a share seems like a bit of a lofty goal. I'm going to bet the under, especially at even odds.
Okay, you know what? We're going to switch things up again because I am going to take the over on this one. I'm getting all lubed up on this one here. The biggest threat right now of the coronavirus seems to be to those that are of 60 years or more. Those that fall into the senior category, those are retirement homes. You don't want to spread it. You're going to have to take precautions, and you're going to need the Trojan man for that. So I take the Trojan condom to go over the price of $65. And that's my basis. I mean, we're not really well trained in condom props, but I feel like there's something there.
Speak for yourself.
I'm sorry.
I'll be the tiebreak here. I actually do think it's going to be under $65 a share. And the reason is, if there's going to be a baby boom, we don't need the condoms.
You're not wrong.
People got spare time. No condoms equal babies.
Well, they only protect 98% of the time. You can buy it and roll the dice.
This is fair. You could do that if you wanted to. Head to WSN.com for expert online sportsbook reviews that
expert online
yes.
condoms.
Expert online sportsbook reviews let you compare all the best legal betting sites available in the United States. So let's get to the new category then, like this week's best steal of the week recap.
Yeah, my steal of the week is the Seahawks as Super Bowl contenders right now, paying plus 2,000 on DraftKings. Seahawks going off at plus 2,000. Again, I said it earlier, downright disrespectful. Obviously, the Ravens, the Chiefs, they are the heavy favorites, but plus 2,000 on Seattle when you got Russell Wilson at the helm, as you laid out, Alece.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You got to jump in on that. They have the same odds as Philly and Indy. Indy has Phillip Rivers at quarterback. Are you kidding me? How is that fair? Nope. No. Take Seattle plus 2,000. That's my steal of the week.
It's not fair to their fans, tell you that. I endured that for 16 freaking years. I'm sorry. That's a different topic. I'm getting worked up here, like I saw an Oreo. No, I agree with that. I think that's a great call because, I mean, you mentioned the Chiefs, the Ravens. Yeah, AFC. I mean, all you got to do is get through that NFC Championship. All you got to do. But the Seahawks heavily touted to be in that NFC Championship. And once you're in that Super Bowl, it's anyone's game. It could go either way. So I think that's a great pick, a total steal. Mine, though, again, I'm going with FanDuel. You can find Cam Newton to Washington odds, paying 3.5 to 1 at the moment. If you get over there, if you make it quick, and like I was saying, Ron Rivera, he's trying to get the old band back together over there. And, obviously, Cam Newton helped take this guy to the Super Bowl a few years back, an MVP. This guy's got the pedigree, he's got the resume, and what more could you ask for to get on that bench, if nothing else, behind Dwayne Haskins and teach this kid the ropes? I don't think there's anyone better out there, and a reunion of Cam Newton and Ron Rivera with the Skins, I think, is highly in the odds, and you should jump on that right away.
All right, and we talked about it earlier, but over at 888sport.com, they got the odds for the Khabib-Ferguson UFC fight that is scheduled for mid-April. So head on over there to check it out. A reminder, real money daily fantasy sports are a great option for people living in a state where traditional sports betting isn't legal. Head over to WSN.com, and they can set you up with links to DraftKings and FanDuel. Don't forget as well to head over to WSN.com and WSN's YouTube channel for tons of coverage on all sports, whatever we got left.
Yeah, I want to know what Jude Kennedy is betting on.
Jude,
that's
where
what I
are
want.
you? Jude, tell us.
What props are you jumping on, Jude?
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to Prop Drop. For Adam Forsythe and Ryan Sullivan, I'm Alece Anderson, and we will see you next week.
Stay safe, everybody.
Mm-hmm.